So there's a case before the Supreme Court as we speak. Simple as this. The President of the United States removed two members of the Federal Trade Commission. One of those members is currently litigating that removal. It's before the Supreme Court. Now, this should come down to simply whether or not the president has the authority to remove someone from the Federal Trade Commission because he is the chief executive. He is the one member of the executive or head of the executive branch. There are three branches. The question is, where does the FTC fall as far as the three branches? Judicial, legislative, executive? Well, right now, the president thinks it's under the executive authority. So again, Supreme Court, it should come down to that. What does the Constitution say? That should be the crux of the discussion, the arguments made before the court, the questions asked by the respective justices. But boy, oh boy, we've had some lightweights on the Supreme Court, and we have, I think, Justice Helium on the Supreme Court right now. As bad as some of the other justices are, she takes the cake here. I'm talking about, of course, Kaji Brown Jackson. I want you to listen to her line of questioning here regarding this case and arguments.
To expound upon comparative risks. I don't know if we got back to that, but before you do that, let me just also focus in on Justice Kavanaugh's question about losing on the merits and the extent to which the answer would be just striking down the four-clause removal protections. I mean, I appreciate that, but doesn't that create pretty significant risks with respect to the missions of the various agencies? I mean, it's not just we don't have four-clause removal and the agency continues. That would then, I think, open the door for the president to come in, each new president, and clean house in terms of all of the individuals who are running that agency, notwithstanding their expertise and knowledge and experience and the things that they are doing to promote the mission of the agency. And presumably the president could install whoever he wanted.
What? The president can hire and fire? The executive of the United States of America has that authority? Oh, God forbid. Do you mean to tell me, Justice Jackson, that the president can't remove any secretary, any cabinet member? And if so, why not? Why not an entity? Why not members of an entity that don't seem to really fall under any of the three branches? Who else should remove them? And you tell me, who has that authority? Should they be lifetime appointments? They're immune from any removal for any cause? One of the things she touched on there, and again, this is why she's such a lightweight. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I can understand basic fundamental issues of a case. And this is about whether or not the president has the authority to remove someone, in this case from the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. She's talking about how horrible it would be if we don't have experts in the right place. She really likes experts. She likes the masterminds to run government for us. Let me continue with this on this line here. One more cut from her, just to prove to you, just to show to you how much she's in love with the elite masterminds.
Have accepted that there could be both an understanding of Congress and the presidency, that it is in the best interest of the American people to have certain kinds of issues handled by experts who, and I think you were in your colloquy with Justice Kagan, you identified the fact that these boards are not only experts, but they're also nonpartisan.
Oh, yes. Nonpartisan.
So the seats are actually distributed in such a way that we are presumably eliminating political influence because we're trying to get to science and data and actual facts related to how these decisions are made.
Yes, the science, the experts, the masterminds, the people who will take care of us from cradle to grave. We have to rely on these people who know better than us all the time. And if you happen to disagree with their opinion about a particular topic and want to remove them because of that, oh no, that is off the table because they are the brilliant mastermind experts. You have to bow down to what they say, no questions asked. This is the woman making these arguments as a Supreme Court justice. She is not talking about anything based on the Constitution, about divided government, about the three branches of government, about what powers the executive has. She's talking about, don't we want people that are smarter than us to take care of these things for us? This is a person who wants to give away all of individual power to a handful of elite. And speaking of experts that she's so in love with the experts. Again, the brilliant elite to take care of us. Let me run a couple of expert decisions by you. Let me go back just a little ways here and down the line. How about, do you remember that expert decision called separate but equal, where blacks and whites were divided from the Supreme Court? Do you remember that expert decision that was later overturned? How about the food pyramid? I'm old enough to remember this. The food pyramid back in the 1970s, because it was so healthy for us. That was the right diet. That has been debunked and almost literally turned upside down as far as what our diet should be. How about the experts that told us that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and how many men and women we lost in pursuit of those weapons of mass destruction that at least we never found? They probably did not exist. How about the experts who told us that Florida would be underwater by now because of, at the time, global warming, later on climate change, and now it doesn't exist, at least according to Bill Gates? How about the experts that told us that the vaccine would stop the spread of COVID? And yes, they did. My cardiologist at the time, not my current cardiologist, my cardiologist at the time, my insurance at the time, they both told me it's going to be a firewall. We know that was wrong. This person loves the experts. However, remember she talked about science in here? We have to defer to science and so forth and so on with the whatever respective agencies. This is the person who during her nomination could not tell you what a woman is. I'm not an expert. I'm not a biologist, as she said she wasn't. I'm not a biologist. I can't tell you what a woman is. I'm not a biologist. A woman is an adult female. Human. A woman is an adult female. Simple as that. But she couldn't tell you. Look, clearly for political reasons, even I think she knows what a woman is, but this is what a lightweight she is, and she is one of our justices in the Supreme Court. It's an embarrassment, and she's a fraud. For your illumination, I'm the Chief Mark Garrett.